We have 6 episodes left. Hey, it's Romania Black, and I am so excited that Grimmer and Lunge are seemingly a step ahead of Tinma and Nina, and who knows about Johan at this point. I think it's Roberto that showed up. Things are starting to ramp up. We have 6 episodes left, and I'm so excited Lunge and Grimmer are there, but I'm also terrified that one or both of them are going to die. So that's a fun time. So yeah, we're on episode 69 of Monster. And no big deal. It's just things are ramping up. We're getting closer and closer to the conclusion. I'm like, what do we do? And we've seemingly found where Bonaparte is staying, but he's not there. We think there's a mystery person that's going to kill this one guy that are tied to this hillbilly couple that have won the lottery that I think are going to have an impact in this story, whether we like them to or not. It's just, I had wondered when I started this series what the climax of Monster was going to be. And in my head, when we started out, 69 episodes ago, I really thought at this point it was going to be Tinma versus Johan. And Tinma, what I thought was going to happen was that the series was going to get Tinma over the course of the series more and more isolated, kind of like Wolf's character, to where Tinma was only fighting Johan by himself. But the opposite has kind of happened. Instead of it just being Tinma versus Johan in this finale, or at least this is how it's building it up to be, instead of doing what I thought it was going to do and making it to where Tinma and Johan were just going to be out in the middle of the desert facing one another, instead of that, we're having everyone gather for the climax. Instead of Tinma being alone, there's Grimmer, there's Lunge, there's Nina, there's, possibly Roberto. We don't know about Reichwein and the others. So there's a good chance that there's all these characters showing up in the conclusion, even maybe Eva, that I didn't think were going to be there. So there's that. We'll talk about it at the end of the series, but the way this story has progressed and the twists and turns it has taken, there was no way I could have predicted them going into this series. None at all. And we still have so much left to do, so that's exciting. The only thing that I have comment-wise, I know Sunspots was saying that they really appreciated, and I do want to make note of that, the consistency of the anime. Because yes, animation-wise, you would think that for a 74-episode series, it would hit a lag. No, this series has consistently had amazing animation and has been consistent the whole time. Is it the best animation in the world? No, it's not Kiwani or anything. But is it garbage? Hell no. But my thing is, it's consistent. A show doesn't have to be the best animated thing in the world for me to be engaged and love it. It just needs to be consistent. And Monster has done that. So kudos to the production team for getting it done, because this series has been amazing. So the only comment I have is this person kept making this comment asking, like, why do you keep thinking that Bonaparte and Kinderheim are related? They're not. And I was like, well, thank you for possibly spoiling that, because confirming, not confirming theories, you know how it goes. But my thing is, one, don't confirm or deconfirm theories or ask questions like that, because those are spoilery. Please don't do that. Save it till the end of the series, because I'm still learning alongside you all. But also, I'm like, well, the reason why I think that at this point, and I'm just going to kind of ignore your comment if you're suggesting otherwise until the end, but I felt like I needed to ask it because I feel like they keep asking the same question, and I'm like, leave me alone. But, the reason why I think they're related, I don't think that Bonaparte is the founder of Kinderheim. I don't. I would like to, when the series is over, when it is over, not during the series while I'm still discovering information, I would like to figure out a timeline and think of when everything kind of comes together and what we know about the series over the course of it, and kind of look at that timeline. But for me, I do feel like, you have 2 neighboring countries, right? You have Kinderheim in Germany that's founded by this indoctrination of children to become super soldiers. You have Bonaparte doing this indoctrination of children to become these special individuals, this superior race. You have a whole room full of people that are kind of like Nazis saying that they want this superior race. You have in Germany a whole bunch of soldiers that are kind of like Nazis. I don't know. I can't imagine why I would think there'd be similarities. So I was kind of a little thrown off by that question, being like, well, because they are very similar, do I think Bonaparte is directly connected to Kinderheim? Not necessarily. And I've said that in the discussions, but I do think that there are people that have met Bonaparte. And again, I've talked about it in the discussions, that have met Bonaparte that have possibly gone back and influenced Kinderheim's creation. The whole point of Grimmer meeting with Lunge and them talking about their goals, Grimmer's goal is not to stop Bonaparte. Grimmer's goal is to stop Kinderheim. Lunge's goal is to stop Bonaparte, which has happened to be, but they said in the last episode that their goals are overlapping. So that is what leads me to believe what I believe. And if there ends up being no connection and it's just random happenstance that two separate groups in neighboring countries right next to each other are both trying to indoctrinate children to become a superior race, well, what do we do with that? But that is why. But again, I will reiterate, please no spoilers, no hints, no clues, no confirming or deconfirming of theories if you want me to read your comment. I was just like, let me, I always get kind of aggravated when commenters have seen the entire series and someone has not finished and they're like, well, why do you think that? And I'm like, well, I'm still watching the series, so let me figure it out, good sirs. You know, it's a bit aggravating as a content creator. And again, a lot of reactors don't check comments for this reason. So if y'all want me to check comments, please be considerate, you know, treat other viewers as you would like to be treated. But I thought that for me, it seemed like a pretty big no-brainer why I would find a connection between the two, but maybe others just aren't seeing what I'm seeing. I don't know. I'm not in my congenial era for this reaction because I'm terrified that Grimmer's going to die or that Lunge's going to die, and I've been on edge, but I know I have 5-6 episodes left and there's nothing I can do about it but ride the roller coaster and hope things turn out fine. I'm this close, y'all. I'm so close to the end. I can taste it. I don't know what it tastes like, but I can taste it. So, with that being said, we're not going to waste any more time. We are going to start this reaction and see what happens. So, I hope y'all are excited. I definitely am, but we're going to start episode 69 of Monster. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I got chills, they're multiplying. Ah! Okay, good, there are no good feelings. So yeah, I'm mildly freaked out. It's fine. Oh, no. I said next week, if we were looking at the 4-arc structure, the Japanese 4-arc structure of a story, which fits perfectly for Monster, then the rule of 8, the episode 8 of this act, of this arc, is the next episode. And it's literally like the powder keg is about to explode. Y'all, this is bad. This is very bad. Urasawa is in the most realistic and terrifying way setting up this chain reaction that's just like that has been one thing about Monster, because I've been questioning the entire time and the whole series if there was ever going to be any like supernatural element with Monster, and no, seemingly not. That's not it. So that we know, right? It's not the case. Rather, this series makes the realistic aspects like 20,000 times worse. And you're like, what the fudge? So yeah, I'm terrified. Whiteboard Coon's here because we have some things we need to run through, but yeah, it's about to go down. And I'm not looking forward to this because it's not like, and the thing about this show being realistic that is absolutely terrifying is that people can die and do die a lot in this series. And it's not like a superhero or an anime where it's like, oh no, I got hit, but don't worry, I'm going to put some bandages on it. Next episode, I'll be right as rain. No, people are out of commission. People are killed. People are severely wounded and disabled for the rest of the entire series. Yeah, it's not you just get nicked and you're fine the next day. No, that's not how this series works. And Tenma, who is our lead surgeon, the only thing positive in all of this is that Tenma is our master surgeon and he is headed that way. But then the question becomes, is he going to get there in time? Because that's something that's kind of crazy too, is the timeline of this series, there's so much happening in different locations, and you can't quite get a handle by what timeline is syncing up with what timeline. Like, some things are happening weeks ahead of others, and we are seeing it all like it's linear, but it's not linear. And that's kind of the crazy thing. Like, the stuff happening with Grimmer and Lunge right now, we don't know if it's happening the same time as Tenma being at the editors. We don't know that. So there is a very strong chance. I mean, I'm wondering if Urasawa is going to make it like a fake out where we think that all of this, that Tenma finding the editor, Tenma talking to Lipsky, because Lipsky said, he's like, oh, well, Lunge was here weeks ago. And you're like, oh, shit. So it's like, is it going to be one of those things where either Tenma shows up and everybody's dead except Johan and Poppy? I guess we can call him Poppy instead of Bonaparte. Or is it going to be the opposite of that? And like, right as Grimmer's about to get shot by somebody, Tenma shows up and he's been like right on the heels the entire time. But the show has given us this false and warped sense of time and space. Because yeah, to me, it feels like Tenma is, weeks behind where Lunge and Grimmer are now. But it's like, is it that? Is all of this happening the same time to Grimmer and Lunge? Or is Tenma catching up and we just don't realize it yet? The sense of time in this series, Urasawa is able to completely distort your understanding of it. And he uses that as part of the twist. It's like, you don't exactly know when things are happening and when the storylines are going to converge. And that's part of Urasawa's writing that's really well done. And you're just like, holy shit. So, this episode was so freaky. The couple, the old man in the wheelchair being able to walk, oh my God, and giving everybody the guns. And if Poppy is that man that's running the hotel, oh, I swear. We need to go through this episode though, and see what all is being set up here. The hotel Verstek. I want to look up real quick. I'm going to try to not, Verstek meaning, Verstek, I just want to know, Verstek, it means a hideout or a hiding place. Oh my God! No! Oh shit! No! Hotel Verstek, it means hiding place. He's hiding in plain sight. Oh my God. Maybe I'm wrong, but no, Verstek meaning hiding place. Either it's just talking about the couple hiding out in the hotel and it's the hideout and that's supposed to be the twist, or Poppy Bonaparte is running it. And the cottage is like his summer home, his little hideaway home, or where he lives, right? And does his artwork. Oh my God. This episode is making me take a moment, y'all. Okay. All right. Oh my God. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's great. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is ruined. What are we talking about? Everything is wonderful. Okay. But I want to get close up on that guy. So yeah, he's like, wow, the jam's really good, mister. And he's like, yes, it's homemade lingonberry jam. Oh, I'm going to turn my sound off. Okay, so yeah, they're like, oh, homemade. I was told to show this to any guest who likes it. We get a close-up of his face, though. He's like, the maker of the jam is Conrad, right? He's like, oh, his name is Conrad. And he's like, yeah. He says there's an area south of here where the lingonberries grow. So see, look, he's got the nose. He has the purple eyes. He has the tiny eyebrows. His face is elongated, but kind of looks like Lipsky's now. The beard is hiding. And he's wearing glasses, and his hairline has receded. But, I mean, if he grew it out, you might be able to tell. I could be 1,000 times wrong, and maybe this kind man running the hotel is not Bonaparte. But my theory is it's Bonaparte. Oh, my God. And that he's invited the people here and being like, oh, what do you know? No, who knew, right? As soon as he was talking about, he's one of my few friends. Yeah. One of the few friends that I got, huh? And he just happens to die. Oh my God. And we cut to him. Yep. So he was just shot and left there. Just shot once and here we go. Get past this OP. Oh my God. Bless. Okay. The peaceful house. Okay. And so then we have this moment with our could-be couple, Grimmer and Lungay. I mean, they're close enough in this scene where, like, Grimmer can count the eyelashes on Lungay's face. Let's be real. And Lungay, one thing that I love about the dynamic of Grimmer and Lungay together as a pair is that they don't question each other. Like, Grimmer doesn't question Lungay. He's just like, okay, all right, sure. And Lungay doesn't question Grimmer. He's like, here's this information I know. They work really well together. And they're like the dynamic duo I didn't know I needed. Because Tenma can be very passionate, and Tenma likes to take the lead. See, Grimmer is such a great character because Grimmer does not take the lead. I mean, he does when he's by himself. He's capable of doing research himself, but Grimmer is a really good team player. Tenma is not a good team player. I love Tenma to pieces, but he wants to go off and do his own thing, play by Tenma's rules, and then come back and tell you about it later. And Lungay has his own distinct style. So Lungay and Tenma kind of butt heads because they both want to be the top of their field, of their situation. And Grimmer's like, I'm versatile. I can do whatever you want me to. And so Grimmer is totally fine with letting Lungay take the lead on this. And Lungay's like, yes, thank you, sir. I will. And so they talk about that there have been cases where a single gun can destroy a town. And I love that he does a Zweifeldstadt in 1958, and he does a little thing with his hand. I like that Grimmer doesn't question that. Grimmer doesn't bring it up. It doesn't cut to Grimmer. He's like looking down at the hand being like, oh, how weird. No, Grimmer's totally chill about it all, right? And so then Lungay goes on to talk about how they all thought their neighbor was the killer. So there's a lot of parallels, right, to this situation. We have this 1958 case. We'll put it up here. Where there was paranoia about the killer, which versus Ruhenheim. Now, so paranoia about the killer. This town has it because now everybody's getting guns. They don't know who the killer is. So we have this idea of paranoia about the killer. In this case, it's Conrad. Also, R.I.P. dog. What the fudge show? I'm glad they didn't show us that dead dog. I would have been really pissed. I've been like, no, but poor doggo. That dog didn't ask for anything. That dog was better than half this town. Deserved his own complex. They all thought the neighbor was the killer. And then the residents were on edge just going through their daily activities. Yeah, that's literally what's happening right now with the couple with the lottery. This entire episode, everybody on the town, it was just like a grenade about to go off. It's just everyone's on edge. He's like, they were all in a group hysteria. So yeah, so then we have this idea of group hysteria. Yep. That seems to be what's about to go down as well, is this mass group hysteria. A man called Volg Rogner shot his neighbor with a gun that he had bought for self-protection. And so we have the idea of the fuse. The fuse that was ignited was a shot in self-defense. Here's the problem. There have been shots fired, but it's not been the powder keg, the thing that's ignited it yet. Like the dog getting killed, Conrad getting shot, the police officers are getting shot. I don't think those are necessarily the fire starters. What's the problem is now Wim has a gun, which, what the fudge? Wim has a gun. And then the couple for the lotto have a gun. And then the alcoholic dad has a gun. And the cop is dead. So the only person that could call in police, except for maybe Lungay, is dead. They're cut off, right? They are cut off, and now it's just like, and they're also on an island surrounded by mountains on the German border. That it's like this little isolated area. It's the perfect place to just massacre a town, and nobody can come stop them. Because it would take at least half an hour, they said, to an hour before anyone showed up. Like an hour. I think they said it would take an hour before anyone showed up to help. Oh my God. It's like we're getting like a Jurassic Park scenario where it's like Johan and these other people are the velociraptors. No, but I'm so terrified about Wim having a gun because he's a kid and kids don't have the emotional maturity to know what to do that's correct. And so I'm afraid that what if Wim kills Grimmer? What if I am absolutely petrified that Grimmer's going to die because he's my favorite character. And I'm like, this show just seems like it's the kind of show that would be like, wow, you really like Grimmer? He's kind of a perfect person. Be a shame if something happened to him. And you're like, no. So, and Grimmer was able to save Maloche, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to save Wim. I feel like the plot point of giving Wim a gun is going to come back and somebody's gonna get killed that we don't want to get killed, and it's gonna be Wim's fault. And it's gonna be because this old codger fuck in this wheelchair gave him a gun when that was the worst idea possible and encouraged him to like incite violence. I am mildly freaked out by this episode because it's all, this episode was pure tension. It was just pure, like just palpable tension that it felt like a rubber band being stretched and stretched and stretched and stretched and stretched. And just as the episode ends, it's about to pop, but it hasn't yet. Fire raged the town and everything at hand was used as a weapon. Yeah, it's going to cause a massacre. And then Grimmer's just like, well, this sounds familiar. And then what does Lunge say there? All the residents were in the massacre and there wasn't a single survivor. So yeah, so basically we're having, what's being recreated here is what Johan refers to as what she says is the perfect suicide. That here's, again, when we talk about the similarities between why I think they're connected, is you have Bonaparte at the Red Rose Mansion where everyone was gathered and poisoned, the 42 people. Then you had Kinderheim, which again, imagine that, where you had the massacre there with Johan, where everyone just killed each other. And then here we have Ruhenheim. Because if we think about it, everybody's gathered here. It's like Johan wants to go all Hamlet on this and gather everyone together here. There's Lunge, there's Grimmer, there's Tenma, there's possibly Roberto, there's Poppy, Bonaparte, there's like remnants of the secret police possibly, or that were involved with Bonaparte. There's like all these loose ends that Johan's like, well, I can just wrap this all up and just get rid of all of them, including himself. And then just wipe it all out. And that'll be it. That's terrifying. He's already got rid of Peter and the baby and Wolf, so they're all gone. Everybody else is gone in this scenario that would be a threat. Terrifying. My fear is that like Lunge and Grimmer are going to get caught up in the fire and die. And maybe Timma will. I don't know. I don't even know. Oh my God. This is absolutely terrifying. Right? And so he's like, is it going to happen to this town? Like, I love Grimmer's expression where he's just like, we have to stop it before it starts. And Lunge's like, man, you'd get along real good with that doctor I know. Lunge's like, damn, you'd be a really good partner for that doctor I know. You guys go on picnics together or something? Yeah, because Grimmer's kind of like sense of justice comes out and Lunge's like, it's already started. He's like, it's already going down. We're too late. We're just caught up in it now, right? Again, this feels like the plot of Jurassic Park, where if you've not seen Jurassic Park, like when the conflict starts to get going, it's not something that just happens on a whim. It's something that was set up from the very beginning of the story that has built up to this moment where it all just explodes. I mean, it's amazing storytelling. And you're just like, ah. But yeah, Lunge's like, nah, it's already going down. And then he leaves poor Grimmer with his khakis in his duffel bag. But yeah, I feel so bad for Wim because these little mother truckers stealing his money, and they're just little assholes, like the perfect little asshole. And then Wim, who's kind of like Dieter and, you know, wants to defend himself, but doesn't know what to do. I think that Wim is in a worse situation, I think, than Dieter. And that I'm going to try to phrase it in a way that makes sense, because Dieter was in a bad situation, like an abusive situation, but I don't know if it was on the same level as Wim. And the fact that it was Wim's biological father that's an alcoholic abusing him, and the fact that because here's the thing, like both Wim and Dieter on the outside things look normal, but everybody in the town seems to know that Wim's dad's an alcoholic and that he abuses him and is making him work for money, right? Everybody kind of knows that. And they just turn a blind eye and don't do any shit about it, which small town mentality, you watch Banana Fish, you know. And that's kind of the situation with Dieter, but I don't think that Dieter maybe suffered the constant neg and abuse that Wim suffers. Does that make sense? But so it makes more sense why Wim is so much more driven to revenge and anger. And then he's like, oh, you hate them, don't you? Do you hate them enough to kill them, don't you? Now, the only thing that gives me some hope that maybe Wim won't fire the gun or won't do anything is because he looks petrified when the man in the wheelchair is offering him a gun, right? He looks petrified. So maybe Wim won't fire it, but I'm afraid he's going to either kill his dad or he's going to fire at somebody like Grimmer and Lunge on accident and kill them. And I'm going to be like, are you freaking kidding me? But maybe because Wim's immediate expression isn't just like, oh, I'm going to take it. He looks scared. Maybe that gives me hope that he won't intentionally like use it. I don't know. But he did take the gun, which is scary. So this couple that has won the lottery, do they get the award for like dumbest couple of the year? I was like, because they're so paranoid that it makes sense why they're freaking out. But the thing that got me was one, the wife thinking that her husband killed this man when she didn't hear a gunshot. And they were there for 5 seconds and the body's clearly been there a while. And she's like, oh, did you shoot him? And he's like, we just found it, woman. And then he pulls out the gun, brandishes it in front of her like he was going to accidentally shoot her. And I'm like, what are you two doing? And then they're both freaking out. And then my thing was, and again, what's so crazy about this is I know people in real life that would do the shit these two are doing because they got so paranoid and they were so freaked out. I know people like that. You probably know people like that too. And you're just like, what are you doing? And then when she was like, we should have hid the body. And I'm like, no, I mean, they should have called the cops is what they should have called the cop of the town is what they should have done and gotten an ambulance and gotten his body out of there before it started raining. Cause now it's just gonna be nasty, right? Poor Conrad. He was just he gave the woman winning lottery tickets. He was just trying to collect berries. I don't know if that's supposed to say something to him being like, you know, he's the only one in this town that was good, so he had to go. The dog was the only one in the town that was good, so they had to go. I don't know if that's what it's saying, but this couple's so stupid. Because then she's like, we should have hid the body. And I'm like, no, what you should have done was call the police, have them get the body, and yeah, they would have questioned you, but you could have just said you were looking for Conrad and didn't know where he was, and so you knew they picked berries and went out there. Because none of their fingerprints are on him. None of them, I mean, yeah, there's footprints to the crime scene, but they're not near the body. The only problem that I could see them having freaked out about was they have the guns. And if the police have the guns and if the bullet matches the bullet that shot him, then they're screwed. So maybe that was part of their paranoia, was they were like, oh shit, we have guns. They're going to find out we shouldn't have them here. And then it's all going to go down. But I mean, I wouldn't have touched that body. Not in a million years. No, I would have got the hell out of Dodge. I wouldn't have gone back. They're just so much, right? They're so much. And then the alcoholic, I'm sure, is the one that shot the dog. So the thing that's kind of weird here is that the girl is in really good spirits. And even she's like off kilter. Like she's kind of freaky. And Grimmer's like, wow, you're in good spirits today. And he's like, did something good happen? And he's got his smile on, you know, being his 6'5" handsome self. And she's like, oh yeah, he finally appeared. He's like, who? And then she's like, the man who will take me away from here. So I'm like, is it Roberto? Is it Johan? I feel like maybe it's Roberto because Roberto's kind of a womanizer. So I feel like it's possibly Roberto. If she had been a man, I would have said probably Johan. But I feel like since it's a woman, maybe it's Roberto and he offered to like get her out of there. Maybe. If it's Johan, I don't see why Johan would have wasted his time talking to her, except to find information, but making promises her to get her out of there. I don't know about that, but Roberto would schmooze and say stuff like that. Absolutely. Fully believe that. But yeah, when she says that to Grimmer, Grimmer's reaction is like, the fudge? Grimmer definitely has a reaction of like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like where this is headed. This is not a good sign. No. Bless you, Grimmer. I'm like, stay safe. Go hide in a warehouse. Go hide somewhere. And then yeah, I love just the shadows. The shadows cast off of the alcoholic onto the streets. Again, he wants alcohol. He's like, I'm the laughing stock of the town. Wim must take after his mom because he sure as hell don't look like the dad. But then we see the husband in the wheelchair. And then he's like standing up and he offers him a gun. He's like, what do you really want? And it's got like the devil's like pentagram on it. I'm like, what the fudge? It's got like the star symbol. Not looking forward to this. Nope, not good. And he's just smiling. He's like, your son already took one. Oh, creepy as F. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. And I don't think he's Bonaparte. I know he's too old. But, oh my God. Oh, just like a powder keg. Yep, nuh-uh. And Lunge's like, this is not good. And again, the town is completely empty. The streets are empty. There's like 3 people walking around. The town is empty. Everything is just like bubbling under the surface and about to boil over. And it is the idea of them walking around this quiet, empty town where there's going to be a massacre is absolute madness. Nope, not good. So meanwhile, we go back to Prague and we see Lipsky and he's doing the Nina puppet. Bless his heart. Nobody's really giving him any money. He's got a little bit of change in there, and he doesn't seem too upset by it, our little busker. And then he sees Tinma. You're Franz Bonaparte's son, aren't you? And yeah, like but I'm sorry, the face structure of Lipsky with the eyebrows, the nose, the long face, it's the same as the hotel operator. Oh my God, if it turns out to be him, and if that's why, if Bonaparte is the hotel man who knows about the guy in the wheelchair that's handing out the guns, he would have told him about Wim, told him about everybody else. Oh my God. He's like, tell me about your dad. And then Lipsky's like, here's my problem with Lipsky. Like, I'm glad to know now that Bonaparte is officially canonically not Nina and Johan's dad. Good. I'm glad to know that. That makes me feel less creeped out by Lipsky liking Nina because they're not biologically related. It's still a little creepy. It was much creepier in the manga. I feel like the anime softens him a little bit, makes him less creepy than he is in the manga with his obsession with Nina. But him patting the Nina doll, it's still kind of disturbing. Like, I don't mind Lipsky. I feel bad for his character, but he's a little creepy. And Tinma figures out the doll's based on Nina. He's like, I can't imagine. And then he's like, is Nina okay? I will say there is a weird parallel between Nina in the bed and her mom Anna in the bed from a few episodes ago. There's a weird parallel there. I mean, I don't think Nina's pregnant, but there is an odd parallel here. The difference is that she could, escape if she wanted to, and her mother could not. And Tinma is looking out for her, whereas nobody in her mom's situation was looking out for her. So there's that. Also, I want to make note in the room during this hospital scene, Tinma, because his back is turned to the window, Tinma is shrouded in darkness, and Nina, the sunlight is radiating on her, and so she's basked in light. And so there's a little bit of a contrast there. And she's like, don't worry about me. She's like, I'm going to be fine. Poor girl's been like in a hospital bed or in a bed, like mentally ill for like a third of this series. And she's like, I'm fine. I don't have suicidal ideations anymore. I'm glad that Reichwein and Dieter are going to be there with her in Prague or wherever they are. They're not in Prague, but I'm assuming he's close to Lipsky. This is like the timeline thing. Like, I assume they're close to Prague because he got to go talk to Lipsky and has a lead, but it's like, is Lipsky going to visit her? What are we going to do? And then she's like, you were looking for a lot of materials. What'd you find out? And he's like, I got some information from people affiliated with the Czechoslovakian police in Prague, enough and General Wolf to make a file. Yeah. So we have this idea here of all of the aliases he's had. We have Klaus Poppy, Emil Sheb, Jakob Walbeck, Bonaparte, Lipsky, like a lot of different ones here. Yeah, he has a son in Prague. And then I want to go back to that picture of him. Yep, he's German Czechoslovakian. Okay. And after World War II, many German Czechoslovakians were chased out of their Bohemian homeland. Oh my God, it looks just like the hotel man! Only his hair! Yeah, no, I think it's him. Son of a bitch. Oh my God. If I'm right, I will flip. I will freak out. Don't tell me. I want to find out next episode. If we find out next episode. We might not, right? So they basically talk about him losing his homeland past the war, and his family remained, and that it's unclear what role he played in the Czechoslovakian, in the communist government. The fact that the man in the hotel is wearing glasses and he has the beard to hide his face. Oh, genius, y'all, genius. And they married a Czechoslovakian woman and had a child, which would have been Lipsky. The boy in the reading sessions. So the thing about the picture, I wanted to see if there was any way we could identify any of the other boys in the picture, but there really isn't any emphasis on them. There's just Lipsky who looks like he is, right? And then Nina says he was called the unexceptional child. He wasn't special. And so he's kicked out of the readings. The irony that his biological son wasn't good enough. Oof. And he's a man I know in Prague. And he's like, if you don't hurry, something horrible is going to happen. I know what Johan's going to do. The perfect suicide, true solitude, a true expression of love. I hate that the idea is that this giant mass killing is an expression of love and the ultimate form of solitude. Terrifying, right? Nope. And she's like, he's going to massacre an entire city and just destroy him and everyone else, all the loose ends. So I thought it was really neat how we're able to piece together that Klaus Poppy is his actual name because it's the only German name amongst all the Czechoslovakian pen names. I thought that was really cool. I also like that Tinma is amazed that Lunge was not only there before him, but figured it out as well. And he's like, really? I love it. Again, like Lunge is just playing 3D chess over here. He left weeks ago. And so he's like, I am Klaus Poppy. I have no place to go home to. In order to take back the tranquility in my heart, I have to return to my heart's homeland. So there's this really interesting thing where we're talking about the monster. And the monster has no name. But he also doesn't really have a home either. And throughout his journey, he tries to find a name. And then goes through many homes in the process. But in the end, he ends up alone with a name. So there is some interesting parallel there where Poppy has been like assimilating all these names and these pseudo pen names, kind of like the monster in the storybook eating random people and becoming them for a while and then being like, I don't like that anymore. Now I'm going to eat somebody else. That kind of is like what Bonaparte has done in having all these different aliases, right? So there's a similarity there, but the idea that he didn't have a home to go to is kind of like the monster too. The monster was just wandering around till it could find a place and a name. Interesting. Now, why he doesn't want people to have names, we've talked about that in previous discussions, but the idea that people are easier to manipulate if they don't have an identity, that could be one of the things. Or maybe he was jealous of people that had names and homes. That could be part of it as well. But the idea that he returned to this homeland, that he returned to Ruhenheim and like found solitude there and peace, but I'm sure maybe he knew that they were always going to come for him there. And he kind of like, it almost feels like he was trapping himself, waiting for them to come and kill him. Because you're in a town surrounded by mountains. There's nowhere to run. It seems like the perfect place to be trapped. So maybe he always anticipated it. Maybe he wanted it. I don't know. I'm so curious, right? Maybe we're going to try this last experiment in South Germany. I feel like at the end of this, is Timma going to like chase them to the border or something? And then that's where the OP ends. I do feel bad for Lipsky though, when he's like, please protect Nina. He's like, don't let her get hurt. I want her to have a happy ending. And I'm like, which Reichwein and Dieter are coming. Although, Timma, you should probably know that Reichwein and Dieter have not stopped Nina from leaving before. So they might not be the best ones. You need to get Rudy in there too. Rudy at least could like maybe hold her down. And then he's like, what's going to happen? And I like Timma doesn't want to talk to him. Like Tinma, when he says protect Nina, he kind of has a grim expression being like, well, I'm not exactly going to stay by her side, so I can't guarantee that, but I got to go do this, you know, but he doesn't want to say what's going to happen. And then Nina says the tragedy at the Red Rose Mansion, the massacre at Kinderheim, he's going to recreate it. Please come back alive. You saved me, so you too should be saved. And I hate that face he makes to her. So before we get to that, the whole idea about the Red Rose Mansion and Kinderheim, I mean, the Kinderheim thing, could we look at that as Johan experimenting, like the perfect suicide in the town? Is it possible that Kinderheim 511 was the like prototype of that he made like a little pseudo powder keg scenario with Kinderheim and then ignited it and saw that they all killed each other, and he's like, okay, it can be done. And now he's just been working his way up to having it replicated here in Ruhenheim. Possibly. But I hate that face that Timma makes, because she's like, you have to come back safe to me because you need to be saved as well. Just like you saved me, I want to save you. And the look that Timma gives her is a look of a man that's going to die, that expects to die. He expects to die at Ruhenheim. That's the look he gives her. He just smiles at her like, oh, sure, I'll come back. That is the face of a man that does not plan to come back to her. I think he's going to live. I think Timma, unlike Hamlet, I think Timma's going to live, but I'm not going to be surprised if everyone else dies except him and Nina. I don't know. I don't want Grimmer and Lungay to die, but this is not boding well. None of this is boding well. I want Timma and Grimmer to have sandwiches, damn it. Here's my problem. Eva and Tinma both meet these handsome blondes that could lead them off to a better life. Nina's gets killed through Martin. I feel like the story is going to have some karma where Tinma can't be with Grimmer, Eva can't be with Martin. I hope I'm wrong. God, I hope I'm wrong, but I'm just throwing it out there. That's where my brain's going. I'm like, Urasawa, we don't have to parallel everything. We don't have to make everything poetry. It doesn't have to all rhyme. It can be a little different. It doesn't have to all be symbolic. Please don't. It doesn't have to be symbolic symmetry. But then we have Lipsky looking at the doll of Nina. And saying, it's starting to rain. I feel like that it's starting to rain was like in Skate the Infinity, you know, I love that you taught me skateboarding. I was like, damn it, no. So, meanwhile, Timma leaves in the rain. Eurythmics are playing Here Comes the Rain Again, you know. And then we have the dad wanting alcohol, and he has the gun. And they're like, have the police found Conrad's body? And they're like, no, they're still looking for him. And they're like, we're in this situation. She's like, well, you brought the guns. The guns don't seem like they were bought from the same person in the wheelchair, so that's good to know. They have a different thing. And then Grimmer is like, no, the train's not coming. The bridge is flooded because of the rain, and the traffic stopped. I'm curious. He's like, so this is a solitary island. Yeah, imagine that. I don't know if Grimmer was trying to leave. I don't feel like he was. I feel like he was trying to like map out and see what was in the area, right? And now he found out they're on an island and they're trapped there. So that's bad. That's not good. I feel like Grimmer was trying to see if there was a way to get out. No, they are trapped. And not only are they trapped because of the rain and the flooding, but no one can come to them. So I don't know how Tim is getting there. If the traffic is stopped, I don't know how Tim is getting there. The police can't get there to help them. I'm like, is this going to be a big ass massacre where everybody is like near death except for like Johan and Bonaparte, and then Timma shows up? This show is putting me on edge, y'all, and I'm not having it. So Grimmer does his investigation outside, and meanwhile, Timma's back at the editor, and the editor notes this one random book, Ruhenheim, Das Ruhenheim, that was released in 1989, which would have been, 8 years ago? 7 years ago. And it's about, the story of it's interesting. It's like, you notice the art style is different. A thief sneaks into a mountain town. Yeah, and he has like the mustache and the beard and everything. He plans to steal the money from the people there, but as he lives there, he forgets how to steal. And then he lives a quiet life working for the people of the town. Literally like the hotel manager. So what's interesting here that I thought was really good to point out is that the artwork is not as good in that book as it was in the other ones. He's like, the disturbing feeling you get after reading is completely gone, and his art isn't very good. He's like, isn't it strange? When his stories get good, his art gets bad. I was like, oh my God. Because it's like that idea where his art doesn't have the inspiration of malice anymore. So this is the part that's so weird. When he said that is like, okay, so he isn't able to connect back to the anger and the violence that he had before in his system because he's lived in this town and it's like supposedly calmed him, as the plot of the story would suggest, or he's just not inspired anymore. We don't know. My thing is, because it was done in 1989, right? So 1989, if we're thinking back, would that have been around the time after the kids escaped from the surgery? Would that have been about right? I think so. So, or about the time that like past the Lieberts dying and all that. That he went to Ruhenheim after that whole thing went down. Interesting. Oh my God. It would be a twist. It would be a really big twist if the story was true and if Bonaparte went to this town, settled down, and actually like didn't, had completely wasn't trying to further the experiment and just kind of completely shut down there and was not aware of the wheelchair man and was just like, yeah, I just kind of retired here. And 10 months them were like, but you caused all this shit to go down. And Bonaparte is like, I'm not doing bad now. That would be insane, but I don't know. I feel like maybe the book is a front. I also feel like the book is maybe, it says he lost sight of his goal, and I'm like, in the experiments, the restful home. I feel like the book was literally planted as a clue to come find him. Being like, in case if an inspector steals your postcard, here's another way you can find where I am. Them getting the map out, the tension and everything, and seeing Ruhenheim. Yeah. Oh my God. Insane. A restful home. And then, yeah, it sure is pouring outside. Have you found Conrad yet? Yeah, oh my God, I swear that's him. And they're like, have you found Conrad? And the police officer is like, no, I have no idea where he's at. He's like, we could look for him, but not in this rain. The rails and the roads are flooded by the river. And he's like, this town is normally peaceful. First, Conrad goes missing, and then the neighborhood dog is shot. And Miss Hillman won't get out of bed. Yeah, I swear, I bet that's him. Oh my God. And he's like, Mr. Krimner was attacked after he left the pub last night. And he's in critical condition. He's like, we don't know who did it. So we don't know if Mr. Krimner is it. Yeah. And he's like, if he dies, he's the first murder in this town. Well, no, Conrad's the first murder in this town, technically. But, so we don't know who attacked Mr. Krimner, what's going on, everything. We don't know who all has guns in this town. There could be, everybody in this town could have a gun, and we don't even know about it. These wheelchair couple could have gave it to everybody. And then he's like, we can't get any help because of the rain. What do I have to do when I don't have enough men? Then he's saying all this in front of the people that are distributing the weapons, so that's not good. And he's like, there's never been a crime in this town before. It has to be the work of outsiders. And then, yeah, the people in the wheelchair are like, we're outsiders. And I'm like, yeah, you're causing the crimes. Like again, if the hotel owner is not Bonaparte, then the Hotel Versteck, meaning the hideout, makes sense for the couple in the wheelchair. It still fits them being hiding there in plain sight. And even bringing up that they're outsiders, like to challenge the police officer and to throw them off of them being suspicious. Oh my God. And the police officer's like, oh, sorry about that. I didn't mean you. But I can't go outside at all in my wheelchair. But he has dirty shoes. And dirty shoes. Okay, so it could be... Damn it, the dirty shoes. I don't think he shot Conrad, because the guy that shot Conrad was in like a much different suit and appeared to be, I don't know, their style of everything seemed different than the man in the wheelchair, right? And plus his shoes could have got dirty giving people all the guns, right? So that could have been from something else. But I love Lunge's figured it out. He's like, you guys, and I love that Lunge is like, wow, your shoes are pretty dirty, as if you've been walking in the rain. I don't know why Lunge said that. I'm like, Lunge, I know you're a detective and you want to show off and you want to say that you figured it out, but I would maybe, after you just heard the police say that there's no way to get help from outside, after you just heard the policeman say that you're trapped there, I don't know if I would immediately go after the old couple being like, I'm on to you. I think you're doing all this until you were sure you were going to be safe. But Lunge's a friggin' badass. He don't care. I was just like, oh, I would not have said that this soon. Like the telephones are going to go out or something. Oh my God. I don't know who he tried to call. I don't know who he was trying to call. But they didn't answer their phone. And then, yeah. Okay. So the cop is driving and he sees the dad. That's the alcoholic. He's like, well, he won't try anything funny, but he has the gun. And then, okay. He sees there's a man standing over his car. He's too heavy to be Johan. So is it Roberto? I'm like, is it? He's like, what's wrong? Are you out of gas? Okay. I was like, I could call a repairman. Okay, but it's a man with what it's a guy with hair. I don't think that's Roberto. It's not, Opie Mofo, because his ear's okay. But is it Roberto? I mean, he's thicker, but his hair's cut. His hair looks browner than Roberto. Or is this just some rando that was given a gun? Or was it just a rando? And then Grimmer hears the gunshot. And then Lunge's like, well, nobody's picking up. I couldn't get through. And yeah, the guy in the hotel looks over to the couple with the sipping the coffee. Son of a bitch. And Grimmer's like, we can't stop it. Oh my God. Oh my God. We can't stop the massacre, so what do we do? Oh my God. Oh my God. It's fine. It's fine. We're fine. We're not fine. Next episode's episode 70, and I'm terrified about that because that's the rule of 8 for this arc, and we have 5 episodes left altogether, so not looking forward to it, y'all. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't know if my heart can take it, but we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? So please no spoilers down below, no hints or clues. Y'all know how I roll if you want me to read your comments, but if you're not going to spoil me, I hope to hear your comments down below. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. But yeah, I'll be back real soon with episode 70 of Monster. Bye.